It's cold outside. That means it's pruning time. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you on a cold January morning in 2024. So today we're going to be pruning our Nectarine. That's what you see behind me here. This tree has been in the ground for right at about 4 years. So you can see it's a beautiful looking tree, had a lot of growth from last year. But here we are in January. This thing's going to be breaking dormancy soon, so we need to get it pruned. So as far as tools that we're going to be using today, pretty straightforward. We really like the Corona pruners. They're a bypass pruner. Bypass simply means that the cutting piece of the pruner bypasses the anvil to make a clean cut. You'll see me using loppers today, and then either a handsaw or a sawzall with any of the larger branches that we might have to take off today. So let's go ahead and get to it. So the first thing that I look for when I'm going to be pruning any type of peach, and a nectarine is just a fuzzless peach, and in this case the Nectarine is really a nectarine tree. So the first thing I do is I make sure that I have what's called a harvesting notch. That's where I'm going to start from. The reason why is it allows me to get into the center of the tree. This is an open center design that we'll show you here in a second, but it gets me into the middle of the tree that allows me to do some of my pruning cuts in there, and then I work from the inside to the outside. So now you're actually in the center of the tree. I'm on the opposite side from you. I want to show you where you want to make your pruning cuts, really on any tree, particularly here with your deciduous stone fruit. This branch here, real clear to see that you have what I'm going to call the collar. It's where the branch itself widens and then finally meets the trunk. Now this is a larger branch. You can't see it on this side. There's actually last year's cut. So this particular branch, which is probably about 4 or 5 feet tall, is all new growth from this past year. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off for you. I just wanted to show you where you wanna make your cuts when you're up against a large branch or the trunk. So once I get the center cleared out, I start working on all of the branches that are pointing straight down. This is one of my main scaffolds here. An open center tree, I've got 4 main scaffolds. I start cleaning up the bottom of all these scaffolds to make sure I don't have anything pointing directly down to the ground. So as I'm working around the tree, removing my branches that are low, my branches that are in the center of the tree, and kind of space these branches out a bit, sometimes you're going to come across some that are just like this. These 2 branches are crossing pretty strongly and they're rubbing up against one another. You definitely don't want that, especially as we go into the growing season. You think about it this way, this 4-year-old tree, eventually if these branches are left to their own, they're going to be the size of the trunk. So 4 or 5 inches. So we aren't going to have enough space for both of these here. Now, because they're so close together here, and I've chosen this branch as the one that's going to actually wind up remaining, I need to take this one off very carefully so that I don't nick or damage the existing branch. So I'll actually be using my handsaw to do this. So you can see I'm standing here in the middle of this open center tree. We've come through, we've thinned out each one of my main scaffolds. The scaffolds are basically just the main branches that come off the trunk. We try to leave them evenly spaced. So you guys are on the northeast side of this tree. You can see I have a branch going to the north. I have another branch that's basically going to the east with a split here, so I cover a little bit more area with some additional harvesting area. I have a branch that's heading directly south, and and a branch here that's heading directly west. So having these spread out evenly like this helps to give a balanced tree that can survive the wind, especially once this is grown in completely. Now, one of the things that we didn't do that you can do at home, you'll notice that this tree is pretty high for us. Now, we're a production farm, so we want to have a lot of production on these trees. We've got 16-foot spacing, so I've got plenty of space both width, and of course there's no limits as far as height is concerned. We want nice, tall, beautiful trees that are going to give us production, give us a beautiful looking farm, and that's really our goal, which I think we've satisfied today. So one last thing to keep in mind when it comes to your peach and nectarine trees, all of your production is going to come from growth from last year's growing season. So you want to be careful how much you're removing here during the wintertime, just to make sure you're going to get plenty of production come spring. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We cover a lot of things here on this newly established functioning farm and would love to see you on a regular basis. If you have any questions or comments, those go in the comment section down below. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That's a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with the link down below, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you.